Hello, YouTube world. I would like to say hello to my family, friends, colleagues, uh, co-workers, you name it. I would like to say thank you for supporting me. Those of you that know me know that this is what I love doing, but I do have a busy schedule, so I don't spend as much time that I would like to spend on YouTube. However, I just want to say thank you all, my subscribers, viewers, and those that do decide to make comments. I mean, I welcome the comments. Say what you have to say. Let's just be polite and clean about it, and then we can move forward, because what YouTube is going to do, they're going to, just delete it anyways. So let's keep it clean. Let's keep it going. And let's start off with this new topic tonight. I want to talk about how we always think about the adults that are going through alcoholism, or the young adults that goes through alcoholism. We rarely talk about the children and how it impacts their life. So I want to touch on that a little bit tonight. Try to keep it short and sweet, but the bitter pill is going to come as well, because I think that we need to know that these children are being destroyed by the habits of the parents. So let's dive into this. The name of this episode tonight is called Alcohol, the Silent Destroyer of Children in Low Socioeconomic Communities. Now, that's a lot to say just for a topic. And the reason why I chose that is because oftentimes I see, not just in my own hometown, but in other counties and other cities, when you riding through, sometimes you look around, you see this liquor store, a mom and pop liquor store, right in the heart or right on the edge of the African-American communities. Now, I don't want to make this video totally about African-Americans and alcoholism. This is across the board, because not just African-American, but whites, Asians, Hispanics, you name them, they are all dealing with it in some area of their lives. So this is for the adults that suffer from alcoholism and even drug addiction. Get help. Reach out to someone, because it's important to the children. It's destroying their lives long term. You may not see it today, but when those kids reach 17, 18, goes off to college, those that make it to college, some of them end up dropping out of school. Some of them end up become alcohol abuser themselves. Some of them even become alcohol addicted, and then they choose a drug of choice to go with it. So what we're looking at is a mountain of problems in a nutshell, so to speak. So let's dive off into this. And I hope you all appreciate this information and appreciate the concern. Because like I say, this is a blanket over all communities, but I do see issues that I do not too much care for. I dislike the fact that if you're opening up a mom and pop's liquor store, you got to pick low income African-American, predominantly African-American communities. Yes, I dislike that. And I'm pointing it out. Most people have pointed out already. I'm not the Lone Ranger on this. So it's already out there. But let's do something about it. We got politicians. We got people all we can reach out to. Reach out to them. Let's get this stuff zoned out right. But let's move on. The National Association for Children and Alcoholics, 1 in 4 youth under 18 years of age live in a family where a person abuses alcohol and they suffer from alcoholism. And we already know it couples with drugs and everything else. But that's 1 out of 4. And that can go from 1 out of 4 to 1 out of 8. But when this entity did its research, they came up with 1 out of 4 children ends up in a family with a mother or a father or both with alcoholism, suffering from that disease. It's a disease. If you're out there sampling alcohol, going to a club every now and then, and you may drink a little Hennessy, but most of the time you drinking sodas and this and that, nah, this is not for you. But let me say this to you. The more you do it, the more you run a risk to becoming addicted to it. Because it's about behaviors, it's about your habits. And the more you perpetuate doing it, and the more you act on it, the closer you come to embracing that disease in your life. And then you have something else to wrestle with. Remember, addictions to alcohol or drugs is a disease. Remember that. And a disease is a particular abnormal condition that negatively affects the composition or function of all or parts of the organism, and that it is not directly due to an outside injury. Let's pump the brakes here, because I want you to understand what it's talking about when it says affecting parts of that organism. We are living organisms, okay? Scientifically speaking, we're living organisms. And what we must understand is that when you start using alcohol and using it habitually, and you continue to use it until you're basically out of control. When that disease take over you, it hampers your eyesight, the ability to see what you would normally see without the alcohol when you're sober. Depth perception, how far away you are to something. Motor skills, your reaction time. Sometimes you have people that they're at the table, they have this glass, and the glass may be half full or what have you, but they're bumping into it or something, knocking it, and next thing you know, it's about to fall off the table, and they react to it, and their motor skills are intact. They grab the glass before it falls off the table. But if you're under the influence of alcohol and the disease has control of you, first of all, you won't know the distance of that glass from your hand. And you're going to knock it right on the floor anyways. And there's no reaching out and catching it because you don't have that depth perception, nor you have the reaction speed. Because the disease, the alcohol, has slowed everything down. Your motor skills is no longer what they're capable of being. That's the reason why people end up with DUI. That's the reason why people end up in car accidents due to a DUI. You see, because of the alcohol that's influencing their body, that's controlling their body. Moving on, for some people, it is worse than others, depending on how much they drink, the blood alcohol level. So it can be worse, where some person may drink and still be able to go to work and function, when the other one is knocked out on the couch, gone, just laying there. Sluggish, can't hardly move around because they're way overly intoxicated. So keep that in mind. When you find yourself in that type of stupor, please reach out to someone. It's not shameful. There are many people that is wrestling with alcohol addiction. There are many people that go to AA. Many people. You'll be surprised when you go to an AA meeting who's sitting up in there. You never know. But reach out to someone, because who is it affecting in the household with you? If you're a single parent, you're destroying your children's lives. You've given all the power to the alcohol. And that disease is going to do what it wants. And you're going to desire the things of that versus the needs that your children have. The basic needs that your children have, you will put that on the back burner just to give in to the alcohol. And it's not that easy coming out of that. You got to have help. You got to have that treatment. You got to reach out to somebody that really, the professional need to be in the works and all of that. Yes, reach out to a loved one, reach out to a friend and say, hey, I need help. But eventually they need to get you the treatment. And you have to yield to it. You have to give yourself to it. You have to allow people to help you, because there's no way around it. We think about how people becomes an addict. Don't happen overnight. But if it don't happen overnight, guess what? You're not going to cure this thing overnight. You're not going to fix this overnight. It takes time. And it takes you being humble enough to allow yourself to follow the treatment patterns and the plans that they have in place for you and your addiction. Children, when these children are in these homes, they are very confused. They don't know what to think, because they know this: their parents is not like other parents. They get yelled at from time to time. They get fussed at. They get, told to go to their room, stay in their room. They hear a lot of people over sometime, all of them drinking buddies and friends and stuff, and people just having fun. And the children, they have to tiptoe through the house just to go and get something out of the refrigerator, to get water, drink, any little, juices that they normally have, or it's a sandwich. But they're afraid to disturb mom or dad, because mom or dad may have this painful headache from all that drinking. And the little thing they hear, they get yell out, leave me alone, don't bother me, I'm trying to rest, or what have you. These things happen. So these children they're fighting, they're going through everything that they can, they're doing everything that they can, but at the end of the day, they have to reach out to someone. These kids, a lot of times, can't trust anybody, because the same thing the alcohol is doing to the parent is trickling down to the child when it comes down to emotional damages. So you have to, as a parent, get help. If you don't, then it's on that child's shoulder to reach out to a teacher, school nurse, school psychologist, principal, a neighbor, a friend. And a lot of times they're too ashamed to do that because they don't want to talk about their mom or their dad in that way and have them in that type of light where it's embarrassing to them. So somebody has to reach out to them. If you notice it, reach out to them. If you don't know how to reach out, go and get somebody who does. There are professionals all over that you can reach out to and say, hey, I noticed this. I need help with this to help this person. And they'll know what to do. But to put a Band-Aid on it and let it ride, that's why we have young children at an early age dropping out of junior high, high school, and you see them in the community drinking, you see them using drugs, you see them hanging out with the wrong people. Sometimes it's because of the home environment, the alcoholic infested environment. This is all walks, everybody across the board, whether it's white people, African American, Asians, Hispanics, Indian, you name it. But I will always tell African Americans that we need to look at and try to figure out how can we stop these liquor stores from popping up in our community, giving our people so much of access, because alcohol to me is one of the worst drugs out here. It's one of the worst substances because it's so easy to get. Somebody can walk in there and just buy a fifth of liquor and just take it and give it to a 13-year-old. Just that easy. It's different from carrying a gun. It's different from carrying a gun. But it's so easy to access that. Children can get it. Parent can be so drunk, they wouldn't even know the difference. Child can go in there and pull something out into another container and keep it moving. This is just how easy it can be. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA, 1 out of 8 children lives in a household where at least one parent has a substance abuse disorder. Here we go again. The research is there. Save the children. Let's get help for the parents before those children reaches 10, 11, 12 years old. Because from 5 to 10, that's 5 years of gaining knowledge of what's going on in their home. Not just emulating, but gaining the knowledge. And the effect is more powerful than you can imagine. The influence is more powerful than you can imagine on those children. These children have to deal with parents blowing up, getting angry, fussing, just like a volcano ready to blow. And it blows. Sometimes the children one of them may end up with a bruise on them. They get to a school, somebody asks them what? No, I failed. I was outside playing, I failed. But really the parent went off and beat them. but they'll never tell on their parents because they love their parents. This is what we're dealing with now. They have to go through the neglect because the love for the alcohol is more powerful than the love for taking care of the children. So the children be neglected and they push back on the back burner. They're in the back seat now, out of sight, out of mind. The conflict, sometimes children out of pain, emotional pain, they will sometimes yell back at mom or dad. See, this is a raging thing going on. And then they become disobedient through all this. Now they're showing maladaptive behaviors. The parent doing it. So now it's a growing problem because now we're dealing with growth and development of the child. All of that is being hampered. I was invited on a platform, young lady, I'm not going to tell you the name of the platform or what or who she, but I was invited on the platform, and then the conversation went one direction, went to another, and I was just talking about how we need to wake up as a people, talking about Black people, saying we need to wake up because we got a lot of problems that's internal. Has nothing to do with all this out there that people fighting and all this stuff, but we have a lot of internal problems that we need to deal with, like suicide, mental health, things like that. She made a joke out of it. She got a few people on the panel to laugh. She told me to lighten up. Wow, I was like, I was blown away because we got children out there dying because a lot of them do commit suicide when they grow up in a household like that. So I was stunned that a female said it to me. Think about it. That's all I say about that. Moving on. These kids also, as I said before, they have to tiptoe around the house, not be upset the mother or the father, whichever one it is that has this addiction. So they won't upset them, and then you got other circumstances blowing up in their face. The person just dead drunk, laying around, don't care. The kids fending for themselves. So it gets into a physical and an emotional type of abuse situation. This is the environment they grow up in. So we got to get those adults the help that they need. We have to reach out. We have to do something, whether it's from the church. Churches need to invite more people that is skilled in this area to come and speak. Stop being so, not trying to be, I don't want you to think that I'm against how you do your thing, but there's a lot of learning that needs to go on that you can't teach. And you need to bring somebody in sometime and let them talk to your people about it on a more in-depth level. Don't have to be in your sanctuary. But we can see the effects out here in the streets. We can see it in the news. You can't wish it away. You just can't. Children require emotional and physical attention from their parents. And when a father is an alcoholic or a mother is an alcoholic, the needs of their children play second fiddle to the need for that drink. Now, alcohol comes first. The hell with the children. Here's some of these social, emotional, and cognitive influences that falls on the children when they're dealing with an alcoholic parent, a parent with that disease that they cannot fix on their own. And the people, everybody just walking by like, hey, it's okay. This is worthy for a YouTube video. Let's put this on Instagram. But don't know what the children going through at home. Yeah, I'm saying it. The problems that they have with self-control, self-regulation, they deal with stubbornness, unrelenting disposition. The temperament is off the charts. These children are dealing with this stuff all the way down from when they realizing it, age 4. Statistics can prove it. There ought to be more mothers than a little bit raising Cain about this kind of stuff going on. Because mothers are the closest thing to the children, because they carry them for so long before they give them to the world. And the nurturing that these children need from their mothers. This is serious. The guilt that the children carries on their shoulders, that they feel like they're helpless because they can't help their mom and help their dad. They think that they can. Some of them truly believe at a very young age, 10, 12, 13, they think they can help, but they can't. And they try. And they fail over and over again, and they blame themselves for it. What is going on? We need more actions going towards helping folks going through these issues, because they cannot beat this disease by themselves. And the children trying to carry all this weight on them. An angry, drunk mother or father, and the child is afraid to go and say, help me, help my dad. Because if they do go there and say, your child told me that, next thing you know, they mad with the child. They're going to direct that anger. That same mother or that father going to direct that anger towards that child. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not lying. The child has to deal with the shame, the disgrace, the humiliation, the loneliness, because when you get to the point as a child where you can't talk to your friends, and then when your friends find out that you got a drunk for a mother or a father, guess what happens? They start picking on you, and that pushes you away. Now you're going into isolation. Next, depression. Next, you might start finding drugs yourself. I'm painting a picture that you need to see. Children are confused nowadays. They're angry. And worse come to worse, now you got physical and sexual abuse thrown into this. Male and female, doesn't matter. Mama or the incest is happening, and it's drugs, alcohol, you name it. The addiction, the diseases is running wild, running rampant. Honestly, it's worse than Corona. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. People don't want to talk about it, but look at the numbers. I'm finna wrap up. Childhood symptoms can, when they're going through all of this, it can lead to anxiety. It can go, they fall into a sense of despair, hopelessness. They also can feel like their life, because they don't get to play like other children. They don't get to have fun because they can't even go and mingle with those children simply because they know what their daddy is going through. They know what their mom's going through. And they're gonna pick on them. So why go around the people that are gonna pick on you? So they go into isolation. Seems like all this life is stripped away from them. And now those children start bearing the responsibility for recovery and everything else for their parents on their own shoulders, with shame, humiliation, despair, you name it. And y'all think it's fun to drink. Y'all think it's cute to do a video on somebody that's dead drunk. Y'all just heard it from Robbie Williams, coming from Rebirth. Please like, subscribe. Thank you, new subscribers that came along for back about a good month ago. Y'all just been coming in. I thank you for that. Also want to thank those viewers. Seemed like my views kind of slowed down a little bit. My participation slowed down. I'm very busy, but Rebirth is not going anywhere. And I'm thinking about now progressing to a podcast. So be ready to support that next year. A lot of things are coming up, but subscribe, view the videos, share the videos. My name is Robbie Williams, your host, and I'm out of here. I thank you all.